Hey everybody, my name is Sean. I'm with Mad Indie Media, and today we are here at Lulu's downtown in the heart of Colorado Springs with Yesness. Yesness, how's it going?
Yeah, great. Hello.
It's going very yes over here. We're having a fantastic time. Very excited for your set. You're on tour right now. This is the debut tour of Yesness and your new album, See You at the Solstice Convention. Tell us about the recording of that album a little bit. I know that you worked with a company there. Tell us a little bit about that recording process. What bring you guys together to decide to collaborate on this amazing project?
You want to go or should I go? All right. So my other band, L1011, is signed to a label called Joyful Noise. I've become really good friends with Carl, the guy who owns that label. And I was telling him about how much material I'd written for the next L1011 record, which was 26 songs, which is way too many songs for a record. And I was continuing to write, and I was telling him, I don't know what to do with all this material I'm coming up with. And he said, you need another band. And I agreed. I said, I can't find anybody. And he said, you know who Damon Che is? And I said, of course I know who he is. He's the best drummer in rock or something like that. And he said, yeah, I'm friends with him, and he's not doing anything right now, really. He'd probably be into it. So long story short, Carl connected us just via email. We live on other sides of the country. And less than a year later, we had a finished record. It went super fast. We wrote via email and then went and recorded for reals in Indianapolis when we were ready.
That is fantastic. Damon, you have anything to add there?
You asked, about the recording process?
About you guys getting together, deciding to collaborate. I understand that was the process through email. Were you stoked to get that email?
Yeah, yeah. I liked working remotely, and I do that with session work too. So it wasn't completely new to me, and so I enjoyed it. But then when we actually got there in person to record, it was, our work was pretty cut out for ourselves, and the engineer at Postal Recording in Indianapolis, he has a great system of still utilizing 2-inch 2-track tape and a nice machine and a nice MCI mixing desk, and it kind of like everything hits that analog tape right before it gets dumped into the DAW, and then he rewinds the reel and erases it and starts, and re-records, But so
That's
there's
unique.
that stage, and it makes a difference. Yeah. It makes that warm, sweet difference. You can hear it.
Yeah, that is definitely a unique step in the process there. Do you guys find anything difficult translating your recorded sound into live sets with the loop? Is there anything maybe different about a live set that the user might not, the listener may not hear on record?
Yeah, because when I wrote, when we wrote but mostly it would start with my ideas, and I'd send them to Damon, and I wasn't worrying about how we were going to do it live. I would have, like 4 parts come in at once. Then when we decided we were going to tour, then I thought, oh, okay, how am I going to do this? So I rearranged the songs to make them work live. And then half of our set is new stuff that was written to be played live. So the songs from the record that people know, when they hear them live, they'll recognize them, but they'll take a little longer because I have to build stuff up, or the bridge will be different because the bridge on the record, I put piano on it, and I'm not going to bring a piano on tour. So I wrote something different. Or, like 5 parts all come out at once, and then there's key changes and stuff. I'm like, I got to just write something new. But the live versions are almost, I don't know how you feel, Damon, but I almost prefer them now because we've been touring them, and they're kind of more exciting to me.
They're pretty bumping at times.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And I understand you did mention kind of like the slow building sorts of songs. And I remember listening to a specific track that you collaborated with Macy Stewart on.
Oh, yeah.
Want to tell us a little bit about the collaborations featured on this
Wasn't
album?
really a collaboration. I just wrote the song, and I thought there should be strings on it. So there were 3 songs that I thought should have strings. The 2 she recorded on, and then one that Kishibashi recorded on. And they were finished. We had recorded them, essentially. And so I sent one to Kishibashi and one to Macy. And I had written out the string parts just with my computer with fake strings. And I sent her that, and I said, you can just do that, or if you want to do your own thing, that's cool too. And she basically did with what I had written, but added a little bit of flair. And then Kishibashi, same thing. I said, do whatever you want, but here's what I wrote. And he actually did that song's called Nice Walrus. He did the lead with me on that because I didn't actually ask him to do that, but he did, and I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
He elevated the track to the next level. So that, yeah, there's the answer to your question.
Absolutely. I think that those were some really unique and interesting contributions to this album, especially the song with Kichibashi. It just adds such a triumphant tone to everything that's already going on. And for the people out there who don't know, remind us, how many damn strings are on that thing? Oh, my God.
4.
That's it?
Yeah. Well, I have several basses. They're all 4-string, except I have one that is an 8-string. And there are 2 songs on the record, Occasional Grape, and There's No One on Board. That's all 8-string. And then I think I use the 8-string in a few little spots here and there in other songs. And then in the new stuff, it's all over. There's a lot of songs with the 8-string because I just love. I just bought that bass as we were already getting ready to make the record. Like the record, we already had a bunch of songs finished or written.
Okay.
And then I got that 8-string. I'm like, oh my God! And I wrote those 2 songs that ended up on the record.
That changes everything.
Yeah, it did. It really did. It did for L1011 too. There's going to be some of that 8-string on that.
Oh, well, I'm glad
Next
you
record,
bring
too.
up L1011 because I'd like to, ask you guys a bit about your past. You both come from, really prolific careers in math rock, post rock genre. Do you find? Okay, yeah. That was the reaction I expected. This question was going to be, how do you think those labels fit into what you're doing currently? And if music is not about labels at all. What do you think of your own music? Like, gun to your head, you had to pick a genre.
We came up with one called post progressive. Wasn't that our favorite?
Yeah. Yes. I have a few different minds on the whole subject. I mean, it's like if you want to give me like 1/64th of Elton John's money, you can call me anything you want. But things being what they are, I will defend myself, and I don't want to be called math rock, and so I won't dignify it. How's that?
Yeah, that's a great answer. I think a lot of people are wanting to hear that. A lot of people think different things about the genre, what it is, what it consists of, how it's written, and a lot of the time I think things are just coming from the soul. Like, yesteryear when you were doing everything with Don Caballero, was there things driving you to push the envelope in such a way with drumming?
I would hope that it would go without saying that was the case. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again because I think it's worth repeating. I think just because we write in an odd time signature doesn't mean it's math rock. I mean, there's Radiohead uses odd time signatures. The Beatles used odd time signatures.
Everyone did. The Cars did. Touch and Go's in frickin' 5. Yeah. I mean, come on.
You heard it here, people. The Cars
get
are
over the whole
band.
math thing.
Math rock, to me,
it.
when I hear that label, math rock, I think about very specific bands, and they have a particular sound. And to me, it sounds like I'm watching guys do 100 push-ups. Like it's not musical to me. It's just showing off. And I hope that we don't sound like we're showing off. I hope it's moving. Like we're way more interested in moving people emotionally than impressing them. If we happen to impress them along the way, that's cool. That's great. But that's not the goal. And I think with math rock bands, if they're being honest, they're trying to just show off. That's what it sounds like to me. So that's why I don't love that term.
Well, I, for one, am definitely impressed, and I think that this new album is very thematic and does invoke a lot of emotions. Is that something when you're writing you have in mind, like this song I want to convey this emotion?
Not at first. I usually come up with the idea first, and I'm like, oh, that's giving me this kind of vibe. And then that happens. Then it's, okay, we're going this way with this because that was the vibe. But a lot of times I would send something to Damon, and he would send back his drum tracks that were totally different than what I was expecting. I'm like, oh my God, wow, that's so much better. And the vibe actually goes this way. And then that affects how I write the next part. And then I send that to him, and that would affect his next part.
Understandable. Yeah, that is a unique writing process with you guys being on opposite ends of the country, still making it happen, still getting together for this tour, which I believe today might be the last day of this tour. And later this year in April, you'll be hitting a run of shows, Southwest, East Coast, Midwest.
Yep.
I want to speak a little bit about that. Who are you playing with tonight? Are you playing with anyone on that tour?
Wait, you said tonight or that tour?
Tonight, who are you playing with?
Oh, tonight we're playing with Sego. They've been out with us for the whole tour. And then the next tour, it's just going to be local openers.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited
Hopefully.
for that. So I did want to ask a little bit about your previous work as well with L1011 and scoring music in movies and things like that. How was the experience of scoring movies? Like, that seems like a very interesting opportunity that a lot of people are curious about. And do you think that's something you'll do in the future?
I loved it. I wish I did it more, but no one calls anymore. It's a weird time for that kind of thing because there's so much cheap music out there and free music, AI music. So it's a weird time to be a composer. And the real deal high-level composers doing the major budget films and series and stuff, there's just a handful of them, and they get all the work. And it's impossible to get in.
That's a shame.
I kind of gave it. I mean, back 20 years ago or whatever, I was really trying. I was living in LA. I was, doing everything I could to work my way in, and I did some cool stuff that I was proud of, but small stuff, like a PBS documentary here or an ESPN thing there, or those documentaries by Gary Hustwit. I loved it, and I wish I could get more work, but I just couldn't get in. And then L1011 kind of started taking off, and I'm like, well, I'd rather be in a band than be doing the scoring stuff.
It's fun.
And so it's like I started doing less and less scoring stuff as L1011 was touring more and more, and it just, at this point I do almost nothing. And I mean, the last thing I did was a Dockers commercial that didn't even end up getting used. That was fun too, but
yeah, interesting opportunities in music.
It was surf music. They wanted surf music, so I gave them surf music.
Cool, very cool. So I wanted to ask a little bit about where you draw influence of naming your songs, albums. They all seem pretty ridiculous over most of the projects, this one included. Album title is interesting. Where'd you get that?
Yeah, the Greeks.
Descartes and Hobbes.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you want to go back.
Descartes was French.
Yeah, but the well, let's not go down the philosopher road.
Well, no, let's go.
What kind of interview is this? Or should we go deep?
We got time.
Yeah. No, I was listening to a podcast with. I gotta figure out a way to tell this story more quickly, but it was a podcast with Richard Dawkins, and he was relating a story that he had done another interview where he said, sometimes I feel like a solipsist. And then later he was at a convention, and some woman came up to him and said, wow, it's great to meet another solipsist, which is really funny if you know what a solipsist is. So that's where the idea for the record. I just wrote down, God, that would be a really funny song title or album title. So Damon and I kind of massaged how to phrase it exactly the way it is now, and it just made us laugh, and it made us also feel like we're not above you. We're right there at the convention with you.
And it also pokes fun at the potential for us being complete fools too. Like we're, maybe we don't know that, we're solipsists.
Yeah, it's definitely something to ponder. I mean, I can't necessarily prove anything, so can anyone else?
Yeah.
I think you're all robots trying to trick me.
The CIA's gang stalking me again.
Yeah.
Yesness, thank you so much for this interview. This is a fantastic conversation. Do you all have any final words for the audience out there? Anything you'd like to say? Any future plans with this project or otherwise?
You get my best stuff.
Hell yeah.
Well, you get my... No, you'll get my best stuff. I just decided.
Beautiful.
I wasn't going to give you my best stuff, but if Damon is, I will too.
Thought about it. The solidarity in this room is real. Yesness, thank you again. We're very excited for your show here tonight at Lulu's in downtown Colorado Springs. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Ciao.